Man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just tryna touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug pull up with the pack and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gon' get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000 cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit, that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the... Damn, heard it's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just tryna touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just tryna touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug pull up with the pack and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gon' get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000 cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit, that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston.
It's the El Nino Podcast. I'm Eladio Nino, and this is Real Everyday People. As always, I always start my shows out with gratitude. Thank you. I appreciate you. Those who are tuning in now, those who will tune in afterwards, I appreciate all the love and support. I know I'm just getting back in motion and back into the flow of things, but I'll tell you what, I needed a break. It felt good, and I'm coming back. I got some awesome guests. If you guys noticed on the flyer that says Citywide Edition, which means that I am been building bridges and I am expanding my reach beyond Southwest Detroit, beyond, the downriver community. I'm reaching out to every corner of Detroit in its entirety. You know what I'm saying? And we got some real awesome people in this city doing great work. I got a guest today that I'm honored to have on here. I'm so excited for him to share his story with you guys. And welcome, my man, Toson Knight. What's up with you, brother?
You, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. What's up, man? Tell them what it is, what it ain't, who you are, where you from, who you with. You know what it is.
Oh, absolutely. So Toson Knight, born and raised in the city of Detroit. I had a little stint of that in Highland Park. I should say a stint. I grew up a lot. A lot of my years were spent in Highland Park,
and
Michigan.
HP.
Yeah, HP. And I think that was one of the best things for me for sure. And so currently I work with Ceasefire. That's how we met. I do a lot of different things. I'm over the Division of Prevention and Diversion for Wayne County, and I run a mentoring program where I work with young men, on a daily basis, trying to keep them out the streets, keep them out of trouble, and give them the opportunity to succeed.
Man, listen, brother, I know I'm a busy person, man. But, man, bro, I know you stay on the go just like you always got something good, something positive. You're always in a good position to do something. I always see you just wrapping your arms around youth, bro, and guiding them and showing them so much love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But before we get to all them types of things, tell us a little bit about what your adolescence was like when you were their age. You know what I'm saying? Who you had, who you didn't have. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Maybe some of the challenges and obstacles that you had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Because
for sure.
it's easy for people to see where we at today and
Exactly.
think shit is sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you got to hear the story so you know where I came from.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Because not everybody can reach back to the youth. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. I believe a lot in it's your story. I believe what you are made of is what you kind of produce years later. And when growing up, man, I was just talking to my kids about this. It was tough. Growing up at HP, it was tough. I had, I grew up in a single mother home, a single parent home, and my mom used to go hard for us. I didn't even think about that until maybe I was just talking to some people about this, like I didn't really think about how hard my mom went and until recently, like it's
real,
like
that's crazy.
And I was like, your mom is the only one in the house, so it's like you always, getting into it with your mom. You always got something to complain about, but when you step back and think about it, it's like she was the only one.
It's just we had to grow up. We had to mature.
Exactly.
We had to realize.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't realize what we got until you ain't got it. No more.
Exactly.
And then life teaches you a lot of things.
Life
you know what I'm
teaches you.
saying?
Yeah.
And
So yeah, I mean, so that's that. I grew up HP. I grew up single, and then when I was in school, like I was that kid, and like that's why I'm busy now because I had ADHD. I was probably one of the first trials on Ritalin. I took Ritalin.
Wow.
Yeah, they thought they couldn't control me, so my teachers would know when I wasn't taking the Ritalin. And I got kicked out of like at least 11 different schools.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
wow.
a lot of people
I
don't
never
think
would have thought that about you. Listen,
Man.
I don't do any pre-interviews, nothing. So all this stuff is new to me. I never would have thought that. Knowing who he is today, I never would have thought that. You know what I'm saying? 11 schools? I thought I was a terrorist.
Man, one of those was calling a bomb threat. I just doing dumb stuff, man.
Oh my
I was never like, I always
goodness.
tell people like, I never was no gangbanger or nothing like that. I never wanted to carry a gun, but I was always getting into it with the teachers, fighting.
You was a menace.
Oh yeah, I was a menace. Like you was like, teachers probably would prefer to deal. I'd rather deal with the kid who's a gangster or whatever.
And why do you think you acted out like that?
I mean, I think it was a few things. One is like, of course you do it for attention, like you're not getting enough attention. So of course you do it for that. I believe that at that time, like I said, I had ADHD. I couldn't control myself. So now I see when I see a kid, and it goes to really how I work with young people now, because I know stuff for me was boring. So I know when I was bored, what you gonna do? You gonna act out. You gonna make a clown of it. Like, you gonna clown a teacher. You can tell the teacher boring. I'm gonna start talking about the teacher. I'm gonna do something crazy to get put out of class, make it a class joke, be a class clown. And that's what I was. So every time I was like getting in trouble, and then I'd get into fights and stuff a lot of times. I couldn't fight.
Did you have siblings?
Oh my goodness. So I grew up with my older sister, who's like a year older than me, and then my younger brother. That's who I grew up with.
Okay.
But on my dad's side, I have over my dad had like 12 kids. So yeah.
Papa was a rolling stone, baby.
So
wherever he laid his hat was his own.
He was no joke. And so I have a lot of siblings on my dad's side, which we've got closer over the years for sure. But but growing up in the house, it was just us three, and like I said, my mom was working all the time.
And you was in the middle.
I was the middle kid.
You was the middle
and
kid.
I always thought I got done wrong. Always. I mean, I ain't gonna say I thought I got done wrong. Like I said, I've learned to forgive that type of stuff. But I was like, man, I ain't have it right. I always
take that shit personal as hell.
Oh man, I took it personal, man. It was, and I mean, I think even more when I became an adult, it made me think like, man, dang, like nobody, because when you're getting kicked out of all these schools, nobody is expecting you to be a person that's successful. Nobody's expecting that. So that's what I try to tell people.
They're like, he's going to prison. He's going to get in trouble.
I had a teacher tell me that. I came back to work at Highland Park High School. One of my teachers, and she said she was so shocked to see me. And this was like a legit, I love that teacher. She's one of my favorite teachers. She was like, boy, I ain't going to lie. I thought you'd be dead or in jail. I'm like, wow. But I came back teaching, you know.
I got told the same shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was an active gang member. I was selling drugs at a young age. So, I mean, it was destined.
Exactly.
I just looked at it like they was trying to step on me, but really they was telling me the truth. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm learning now as I deal with young people. Like, not actually like saying those exact words, but like, hey, man, where you're headed, I've seen this story before. So I try to explain to him that way. I try not to because I don't want that person to be that guy like, oh yeah, you told me I wasn't gonna be nothing. I'm just like, I've seen this story before, and it doesn't end well unless you change. You feel me? So I think that's what I've learned from a lot of people writing me off. A lot of people saying, he wasn't gonna be nothing. He wasn't. I've learned that you know, what you do is, and your words are powerful, because a lot of things that I remember was the negatives that the teacher said, the negatives that my mom said, like, you're going to be just like your daddy and all this stuff. I remember that type of stuff, you know, and it sticks with you. That's why I tell you, be very careful with your words.
No, it's true, but that's part of, you know, people not healing from their trauma.
Yeah, man.
You know, I experienced a lot of trauma through my mother's, trauma and resentment that she carried, all the baggage she had towards my father, and then I looked just like my father. So, you know, like they say, the sins of the fathers are passed on to the sons.
Yeah,
so, you know, I had to go through some things, you know, for the sake of my father. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But what male figures did you have in your home, like, or around you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, you know, I think one of the main individuals that kind of had an impact on my life as I grew up was I had an uncle. My uncle is like, he's hilarious, and he's a doctor, but he taught me a lot of different things, you know, because he didn't play no games. And, you know, like me, I grew up in Highland Park with my mom. I never was used to doing no hard labor or nothing like that. He had me out there chopping wood. I couldn't even chop the wood. I'll never forget stuff like that. And he was like, he had me out there one day raking leaves. I remember I went over there like a weekend. I'm like, we about to have fun. Like, I'm over there raking. He got us up one morning, 8 a.m. in the morning, and had me raking. I said, oh, I can't come over here no more. I said, this is a disaster, you know, like, but it was like, I've learned, you know, and then what I learned about him was something that I thought was so important, is that he didn't take your silly excuses. He wasn't about that. So when I lived with him, I lived with him for a year, and like, it wasn't no excuse for him. He would find a way around your excuse. Like, if you had it, like, I was late for class, like, and I could tell him every excuse in the world why I was late for class. He did not want to hear it.
That's
and
a man that believes in accountability.
Exactly. And that's what I think is missing in our generation today. Is like, you got to have accountability. You can't just always have these different excuses. And he taught me that. You know, and you have to work for what you want. Like, he wasn't about to just give me stuff, you know. And he just taught me, like, little small stuff. I would go to the office with him. I was just thinking about this the other day. Just small things. I was at the office with him. He was a doctor. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go with her to lunch. He's like, how you know she want to pay for you to go with you for lunch? Like, you know, like, he just told me, like, how you going to put yourself on her? She didn't tell you that. Yeah. And I was like, you know, it was just like, wow, I didn't even think of it like that. But some people, you think they could put off stuff. They think, oh, nobody cares. Like, I was telling this kid, he was like, he stays with, as a kid I was mentoring, he stays with, his mom is living with somebody. So I'm trying to explain to him, one day he said, got up and he left the water on. His mom started going crazy because he just let the shower run. He was in the kitchen. And she was like, go cut the water off. Like, what's wrong with you? And he got mad. I'm like, you don't understand. Your mom is trying to keep y'all in a place to stay. Because you just left out the bathroom, left the water on. I'm like, do people going to think, oh, these people up here running up my water? Your mom ain't going to have a place to stay. Sure. So I'm like, you need to be respectful, understand where she's coming from.
But see, this was the problem, is that, you know, growing up, we weren't allowed to talk back or ask questions. You know what I'm saying? It was do as I say, not as I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of times that hindered our growth. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't even allowed to ask no questions. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and our parents were always yelling.
Oh man, what?
You know what I'm saying? Like, always yelling, like they lacked communication. But it became normal. So now you see people our age and prior to just raising their kids the same way, as if yelling is normal.
Man,
you know, so I had went and visited my godparents one day. They used to live in a gated community in Bloomfield Hills.
Okay,
and I loved it out there. It was beautiful, bro. And but it was crazy because anytime, like, me or my brothers, or, you know, when I got out of line, like, you know, I always got whacked. You know what I'm saying? I was getting whacked. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's like today, you know, you don't see a lot of that, which is good. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, a lot of that evolved into child abuse. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
but the normalcy, though, of yelling is like that verbal abuse. You know what I'm saying? And then you grow up thinking it's normal, yelling at your kids, and really it's just terrible for your mental health. You know what I'm saying?
And you have to catch
It's learned
yourself.
behavior, yeah.
You have to catch, because I was like, man, I do the same thing. I turn around like, man, I gotta like, there's power in the tongue. Like I said, my mom could say some crazy stuff, and I've learned that when I got older, like I can say some stuff that could really bring somebody down, and you have to catch yourself, because it's many things that I've said that I had to go back and apologize. Like, hey man, I don't take it like that. Like immediately, almost like, So
That's one of the main
important.
things we discuss with our youth at our nonprofit organization is the power of words.
Yeah,
you know what
man,
I'm
it's
saying?
powerful.
With words you can create war, you can bring about peace. You know what I'm saying? You can lift people up or you can put people down.
Yeah.
Words are powerful, bro. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You can
Exactly.
heal, you can bring about peace, or you can destroy yourself
right.
and others.
That's
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
And it's not just the way you communicate with people, it's about how you communicate with yourself and your own mind.
Yeah.
Because some people become their own worst enemy by becoming so self-destructive by their thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like when I was growing up, like me and my brothers, we were not ever allowed to call each other dumb or stupid or tear each other down. And for other people, it was normal. You're dumb,
Yeah,
you're stupid.
exactly.
Things like we would get in trouble if we said stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But now I understand why,
Yeah.
though. You know what I'm saying? We were already being groomed to support each other. In
Yeah.
a positive way.
No, absolutely.
But because people today, man, talk crazy. They
Man.
talk reckless, bro. You know what I'm saying?
disrespectful, yeah.
And they get fapped up real quick and be
Yeah.
like, "What you do that for?" You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like you don't
Exactly.
even know what your words is inviting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
And, I told you, I run a mentoring program, and one of the things that I'm big on is how you treat people. I'm like, when people come here, you're never to talk about them. You're never to put them down. I said, they probably get that enough at their crib, enough at school. But when they come here, they better feel the love. If they don't feel the love, then you got to go. Because I want people here. And that's what I learned when I went. Like, I tell people what changed me was going to the school, Oakville University in Huntsville, Alabama. And when I went there, I ain't never seen so many people that lift you up and build you up, like you said, with their words, with their actions, like showing you.
Hospitality.
Man, I've never. It blew my mind. I ain't gonna lie. I thought they was weird. I said, these people are weird down here. But all along, I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be. And that's how I've tried to do with people that come into around me. Is like, treat them as they're your family. Show them the love of God, really. But like, really show them love and that you care about them. And that's a big thing that I've done. Just going in the future.
Growing up poor, most people look at poor people like we're just uncivilized. But my mother, no matter what, she never allowed, poverty to define who we were as people. And she raised us, with
That's
simple
right.
things like mannerisms, to say, please, thank you, and excuse me,
Yes.
and know how far that will get you in life.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Just kindness, consideration, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And always having respect for children, elders, and, respect for adults.
Exactly.
And when I was in prison, I had asked, I had started a youth program, and I asked, like, why is there such a huge disconnect between adults and youth? And, one of the reasons is why, because so many adults have lied, have betrayed, had violated, had done all these things to the younger generation. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? And they're
Exactly.
like, how can I trust you when
Yeah.
my uncle, my father, my aunt, my brother, my cousin did this, did that?
Exactly.
They, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
Exactly.
hard for them to believe in adults and what they have to
know.
say and, and what
Yeah.
they're capable of. You know what I mean?
It's sad, and you see it, like you said, you see it every day, and like it's just like what kids deal with, and like it's like they're not trusting no adult. Everybody around them has misused them, violated them, and it's crazy. Like
Even some kids was like, I sell dope to my mom. I sell dope to
I
my
smoke
dad.
weed with them.
Yeah, so they're like, I don't even respect adults because
Yeah.
my parents ain't even there. Or, they buy dog, look at them like dope fiends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you can't look at all adults like that.
And that is
know?
their first authority figure. So imagine,
Yes, yep.
them talking to the police or them talking to their teacher, and then just like I tell people, just the trauma that people see, like, we go into some of these scenes and stuff like this, and you see like some of these people that experiencing so much trauma. How are they gonna have? They don't have no love or care for nothing in the world. They've seen the worst.
Absolutely.
So how you go out there and be respectful to a teacher, or be respectful to authority figure? And I've seen the absolute worst. I don't care about nothing.
See, that's the thing is adults think that they don't have to show kids respect.
Yeah.
you have to respect kids. They are humans. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
And like you said, you are the first teachers.
Exactly.
You have to teach kids that they are worthy of respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that they can grow up with some dignity and some self-respect.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And that this was the point that I was making is that back then we were punished, but we never were explained anything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
because we weren't allowed to ask questions
Yeah, you don't
because
ask questions.
parents are like, we don't have to explain nothing to you because you
Exactly.
guys are children. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I was at my godparents' home, my god brother got in trouble, and my godmother, she sat and she talked to her. She said, "This is what you did. Identify the problem. I'm gonna punish you. You're gonna go stand in a corner for 10 minutes."
Yeah.
And reflect on what you did, and this is why you don't do it. And I was like, what
Yeah,
the hell?
exactly. Who's
I
talking
said,
to me?
man, if I'd have did that, my mom would have backhanded the shit
Yeah,
out, busted
yeah.
my whole lip. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, damn, that took a whole different approach to
Yeah,
discipline without
exactly.
having to slap your kids and punish them and throw them in the, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
I was
for
like,
sure.
damn, what is the difference between them and me? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly.
And it's just, your standards. It is
Exactly.
your maturity, your growth, your
Yeah.
morality,
And
you know?
think more. You think more. I mean, like you said, like sometimes, like I tell people all the time, I don't know, does it work? Does it not work? But I know my mom, I was afraid of her. It was fear, It wasn't like, I mean, I feel like it was a respect because I'm like, I feared her so much. Like, if I thought to say something crazy, I thought I would be laid out dead. And I tell my mentees, like, that is not like something that's not something I'm just coming up with. That is a legit fear I had. Like, if I disrespected her, this could be the end. You feel me? And I think, like you said, now what you want to do is you want to explain to them, like, listen, while at the same time keeping that level of respect. Like, hey, don't make me go there. But at the same time, like, explain to them, listen, this is why you don't do this. And this is why. And you have to see it from a bigger picture. And a lot of times, God reveals it to them as well. Because I've been seeing a lot of stuff with my kids. And then later on, they'll be like, it comes to fruition. And they're like, oh, I understand what you're saying now. I'm like, yeah, man, I've been down there.
Because you're teaching them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of being a teacher and being an
Exactly.
example and being an influence is explaining to them, this is why you don't do this because these are the results of that. So next time you think about that, think about this. Do
Yep.
it this way and do it that way. Instead of thinking, oh, well, you're a kid. I don't have to answer to you. I don't have to explain nothing to you because you're a child.
Yeah.
And then that's why we grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like little hell raisers.
Exactly.
And it's easy for adults today to, talk about, oh, these youth are crazy. These
Oh,
youth
yeah.
are crazy.
They
you
love
know
to
what
say
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many things that impacted communities like ours, bro. Indictments, feds, drugs, you know what I'm saying? We just, we come from the trenches, bro. And they're products of it, just like we were.
No, absolutely. When I was deputy district manager for the mayor, and I would ride down some of these streets, and I would see like it looks like a bomb went off. Like I'm like, man. So imagine that. I was thinking to myself, like, you will see kids run up and down. Like these kids' parents are either in jail, dead. I can just see that from the way the houses look on the block. And that's something. This is what you have to grow up in. So it's been a lot. It's been crazy,
So working with Ceasefire,
Yes,
I
sir.
was able to expand my horizons,
Absolutely.
doing customs, you know what I'm saying, and reporting to the scenes. I'm talking about with multiple homicides.
Yeah.
I mean, just things had bodies all over the floor, you know what I'm saying? And just going over to the east side, bro, you know what I'm saying? Every parts of the east or the west, I grew up poor, bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, my heart was broke, bro, to see
Yeah.
the conditions.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? That people are actually living in, bro. And I'm like, how can they expect anybody to dream big when you are surrounded by everything that is so small?
Yeah.
When you wake up and right next to you and across from you and behind you, there's an empty lot. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? There's houses that are,
Burnt
you know what I'm
out,
saying?
man.
Just burnt. Like, how can you be inspired to want to think positive, be positive, feel positive, or any of that? I can't even believe that there's communities that look like
Yeah,
that, bro. You
it's-
know
it's
what I'm
sad.
saying? It's
Yeah.
sad. It's unfortunate. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I know they're doing a lot of building and infrastructures
Yeah.
and shit like that. But I said we need to invest in the infrastructure of our people
Yeah.
because we are mentally impoverished.
I mean, and just think
We
about
don't know
it.
how to think, but like criminals,
Yeah.
we're always in survival mode,
Exactly.
bro.
And
We've
if you're
been
out there in that area, Just think about what's your ceiling to being successful. You know, they think might being successful if I get a car. They don't think about like, oh, let me get a job, let me do this, or let me get a career. They think like, oh, if I get a car, I'd have made it. If I make it out of, you know, the ceiling is just so small, like low for things like that. And like you said, you know, I went to one of the scenes that stood out to me that I remember I went to was a young girl who got shot, and she was literally just playing a video game with her nieces or with her cousins. And I remember it just blew my mind that, like, first off, that this is the environment she lived in, that somebody could go outside and shoot into the house. They didn't have no beef with nobody, no issues. They just shot into her house. And guess what? Her cousins had to watch her die. So could you imagine when I put up to the scene, they were still outside crying. I said, I thought to myself, can I imagine what these kids are going to be like when they grow up? After seeing their cousin they're playing a video game with die in front of them.
You know what they're going to think? I need a gun.
Exactly.
I need a gun.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to think.
And nobody can tell them nothing. Nobody can tell them because they're not like I tell them. I tell this story all the time. I tell teachers and I tell pastors. I say that's gonna be that same kid that's gonna say "F you." I ain't got nothing to say to you, and you're gonna wonder why. You're not gonna know why. Mm-hmm. But you're not gonna know there's a deep down pain that they will never forget in their life, watching their cousin murdered in front of them. It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
I think,
and it happens way too often.
It happens
brother.
way too often, and in the city, you know, we have to figure out a way to address those type of things because it's like these kids go through a lot, and the pain that you experience, like some of the pain that they go through, people never know, people never see. They just think like, oh, this kid bad, I can't deal with him. Oh, this kid horrible, I don't want him around me. You know, but it's like, have you taken the time out and sat down and really understood their story? And that's what I try to do with every kid that come my program. Like, tell me your story. Tell me what you've been through, you know.
And that's what this podcast was built on is because, you know, I've always been a product of biasness, racist, prejudice.
Yeah.
You know, people were constantly crucifying me and criticizing me for who I was, but you ain't know who I was. You didn't know what I had to go through to get to where I'm at. It's easy for you to judge me, but you got to be able to walk a mile in my shoes before you can say anything about me, though. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Absolutely. And that's what this podcast was about. That was the foundation, is to be able to break down them barriers and build bridges and educate people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People said things about you. People said we were not supposed to make it. I was supposed to either be dead or die in prison, or I was just supposed to be a fuck up for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And the absolute opposite, you know what I'm saying, has occurred. It was because I discovered myself. I discovered God.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And people all the time, like, so now it's like, for me, it's like, oh, you're arrogant. You're, and I tell people, you know, I always tell individuals, like, I had to be arrogant. I have to be proud, because if I was to go and listen to what everybody told me I was going to be, then I would have went down and been in that same boat. So I have to carry myself, and I have to hold myself at a high standard so that I can continue to make it out here. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I tell people, so I said, don't look at that as a defense mechanism, but I had to be that way because I don't want, people will tear you down. People will put you down as much as they can, but you have to keep moving forward. Like, you know, I take that stuff and that stuff roll off my shoulder. I don't care.
And you got to be strong mentally to
strong.
be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I feel like, you know, there's a whole lot more negativity than there is positivity, bro. You know?
No matter what you're doing. And then I think it's just you know, I was looking at Facebook the other day. It's like, it's our minds are built to that. So say for example, I was looking at Facebook and everybody was saying something positive, and then one person made a nasty comment, and I immediately went to that comment to respond, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop. Because I'm giving that person too much attention. Everybody else has said something positive. Why would I go to the most negative comment?
Yeah.
You know?
So what I look at is anything that you post, anything that you share, you are opening the door for people to have an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's entitled to that opinion.
Everybody.
And you can't be upset about it. Because if it's going to make you mad, then don't post it, don't share it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be without discrimination.
Exactly.
You have to know that everybody has a different perspective of your situation.
Exactly.
Something you might be celebrating might trigger something in somebody else, or they might look at it from a different angle, whatever it may be.
Absolutely. That's what I said. You gotta you have to really keep an open mind to stuff like that. Because I'm always one of the ones who comments on people's stuff, and I always have a different perspective.
Hey, man, I love the shirt.
Oh,
Did you get it at the 313 with my man Fame?
Absolutely.
Man, shout out to Fame, man.
Is Fame,
this
is he the owner?
Cold, bro.
Is he
yeah,
the owner?
Fame, yeah, with the dreads.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I actually, I know, he know of me. I'm always there. I bring my mentees there. And every time I get a new mentee, I go buy them a hoodie from them. Like, you got to get a Detroit hoodie or something like that.
Yes,
so
I
go
love
up there
that. I
every
need to
time.
get that. And I love the Lions colors and everything.
This
Man, that
is
brother been doing his thing, man.
Man, and then the craziest thing is I was there like maybe about during Christmas holiday, I believe it was, gave my kids some hoodies and stuff. And I knew his mom. I worked with his mom when I was like 14 years old at Sinai Grace. Me and his mom worked together. I was like a volunteer at Sinai Grace and I worked with his mom. I had no idea. I'm like, man, this is a small world, you know?
For sure.
But I'm so I love the people that are doing the work. I love that area in Detroit, that 7 Mile, Illinois area. So I love going over there. And I love actually, you know, I took some of my friends, they're from Chicago. They came, I showed them that area. That's like, man, you maybe would have moved to Detroit. I'm like, yeah, it's not all bad. Where everybody say.
Listen, bro.
It's a great place.
You worked the draft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I drove the shuttle bus, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I did all Corktown and brought everybody from Southwest and Corktown to downtown.
Wow.
And, you know, me and my wife, my cousin, we ended up going, I think it was Friday. And it was some of the most amazing shit I had ever seen, bro, in my city, in Detroit. When I left the streets, bro, in 2002, nobody wanted to come to Detroit.
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to come visit. Nobody wanted to vacate. Like, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? We were still known as the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
What?
And like just seeing our city in that light, bro, with people
Wasn't
from
that different?
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, I know we expected a lot of people from out of town, a lot of tours to come through, but ultimately Detroit showed up, bro.
Man,
you ain't
what?
see nothing but lions,
That's all I
the Blue
said.
Sea,
I was trying to figure out, I'm like, how many people came from out of town? How many people? Because
even the train station was all blue. Everything was just, oh, man.
I was very impressed. And like you said, when I went to college. I went to Oakwood, like I told you. And when I was leaving, I had a lot of different people that like was like, you know, why are you going back to Detroit? Are you? My friends were like, are you out of your mind? I actually had a job offer in D.C. And my friends were like, are you out of your mind going back to that godforsaken city? And when I came back here, you know, and then I worked for the mayor. I worked on his campaign. And I was just seeing, like, I was just thinking about this yesterday. Like, man, I remember when this all started. And so to come down to Detroit and see all these people in the city enjoying themselves, it just blew my mind.
No
and it
violence,
made my heart warm.
no nothing.
Yeah,
just,
man. It was
just
a blessing.
fun, bro.
Yeah,
just joy.
And people
fun.
enjoying themselves, you know. I was talking to some people in Grosse Pointe today. It's like, when we went down there and got us something to eat, I was shocked. I looked at them like, oh, you was in downtown?
Detroit is the place to be, man.
That's the place
and I
to
love
be,
it.
man.
I love to see it evolve.
Yeah.
I love to see it grow and prosper, and I want the people to be a reflection of that as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think, like, you know, this is the beginning of something great. Detroit really showed up, like I said, and showed out. So you're going to see a lot of different things happen in the city coming up. So I was very happy about that.
If you don't mind me asking, brother, I don't mean to go backwards, but what happened to your father?
So my father is still alive. My father is a hilarious guy. No, my father's still alive, and so we see each other. Like I said, our relationship definitely got better over the years.
Okay.
It's just like when I was younger, I didn't really have a lot of contact. I would see him, but not as much. And like I was telling kids these days, like, you know, your father is supposed to play a major role in your life. I said, a lot of times our parents, our moms, but, you know, that father is the one, you know, kind of lay down the rules, who can stick to certain things. You know, we can go to our moms and talk to them. Now the thing was, my mom in 2020, you know, she died from COVID. And that's like, so that was,
real?
yeah,
Wow.
that was,
I didn't know that, brother.
man, that was an experience that I, like April 20th, 2020. It was an experience that I just could not believe, because at the time, it wasn't even on talking terms. And it wasn't like we had a big falling out, but I always thought, like, you know, that she didn't support me. I always thought like, all right, I was this bad kid, so I always got in trouble, but I felt like she didn't support me. She wasn't there, you know. So I got this big award at the school, and then she didn't come, and she was like an hour away. So I was like, dang, she couldn't even come. So that's when I just like kind of cut her off, stopped talking to her. You know,
Do you think it might have had anything to do with some resentment towards your father?
Well, I don't think it was resentment towards. I mean, I don't know. So let me say this: I'm a very like, how can I put it? I don't believe in holding things over people's head, right? So if my father could have been there more, of course, but I'm not about to sit there and say I am the way I am because of my father. I am 37 years old now. At some point, I have to take responsibility for my life. You get what I'm saying? So I can't hold that with him, just like I can't hold the things I did 20 years ago. I can't, I did stuff that I shouldn't have done, so I can't just, I don't hold that weight on my shoulders like that. And so I felt that, so I don't know if it was a resentment towards I think it was more like, that was the part of like the negativity I was getting, like, oh, he think he better or he think he's this. I'm like, well, I had to figure it out because like I said, I felt like I was the middle child. I was the child always getting in trouble. So I felt like I didn't get a lot of love. I felt like I got silly stuff happening. Like I remember one time I was bringing in some eggs into the house, and the eggs broke. And my mom was like, oh, you did that on purpose. I was like, that stuck with me forever. You know what? Because it broke my heart to think that my mom would think I would just do something
malicious
like that.
like that.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy that she would say something like. And then I caught myself, like maybe about, and it made me emotional. Maybe about 3 months ago, one of my kids was like pouring some cereal, and like I'm like very organized and stuff. So I put these cereals in these cartons. And so he wasted like half the bag, and I'm like, bro, you did that on purpose. And I had to like catch myself, like, wow.
Yeah,
and
sure.
in that very instance, I apologized to him, like, man, I feel like, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying I don't think you did that on purpose, It was just me. But I remember how much that stuck with me. That small situation stuck with me forever, man. And so I was like, I feel bad that our relationship, that bothered me a lot. That our relationship did not, materialized into like a father-son relationship. And it broke my heart, like, her life ended that way. It broke my heart that, like I was always in trouble and then when I did do better, like, so I think that was a big piece. Like I said, with my father, we've done great strides on getting back on one page and seeing him and talking to him and things like that. And I love, like, you talk to him, he reminds me so much of myself. He laughs, he jokes, he's funny. And like I said,
because
we
you
need
got
that.
a lot of hereditary things,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
I mean, you could not, if your father was always absent, there's always going to be traits of your father in you.
All the
you know
time.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always.
It don't matter.
They're always going to say, you got his eyes, you got his laugh, or he used to do this, or he like that, or he was always interested in them things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is just learning who you are, what you made of, where you come from, and then tweaking it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then learning how to manage yourself.
Doing better. You
know what your mom's made of. You know what her fibers is. You know what your father's made of. You know what their strengths and their weaknesses is. So I know that whatever's in them is in me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like even, for some people, have parents who are addicts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they grow up or are raised with that addiction in them as well. And then try to reprogram it from being addicted to drugs to being addicted to something else. You know what I'm saying? That could be positive or not. You know what I mean? Because people are addicted to technology, sex, drinking, all kinds of things that become self-destructive. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But so you've been working in a juvenile detention?
Yeah, I've been at the juvenile detention facility, and then now I'm over the division for prevention and diversion. So that's like really trying to keep kids out of the juvenile detention facility. So we have some major programs coming up to kind of deal with that as well. But yeah.
So I Danny Harani had invited me over to speak to some juveniles at Team Wellness over there by the Eastern Market.
Okay, yeah.
And all the kids, though, they was all out in juvenile, but they let them come home, but they all had tethers on.
Yeah, and they took a picture.
Huh?
One of them took a picture. I saw a picture of them with
probably.
all the tethers on. I'm like,
Yeah, they all had tethers, but it was cool because, he invited me to come speak to the youth and I just remembering when I was a youth. I was 15 years old when I went to the youth home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, pouring into them because
Yeah.
I have been where they were at. You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
exactly.
And just sharing my personal experience, the pros and the cons of their decision. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
honestly, man, a lot of these kids are really good kids, man. They just
Yeah.
need some love. They need some attention. They need some
Exactly,
guidance. They need some
exactly.
positivity. They need more people like us.
Yeah,
You know
in
what
their
I'm
lives,
saying?
you
Wrapping
know.
our arms around them, man, because love is very powerful. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's very universal. And even with me, with all the success that I've had at all the schools, being part of Ceasefire, I went all across the whole city from Pershing to
Yeah.
Detroit Community to you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying, all these different schools all around the city that I've been through, and sharing my story and still being able to be successful and making a positive impact.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because love and being real and genuine just has no boundaries, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because kids
absolutely.
are not stupid. They know when you're being fake or you're
Yeah,
rehearsing
man.
or reciting or you
And
just
will
here for
write
the
you
paycheck.
off quick, man. I
Yeah,
tell people
yeah.
that. I say, kids. One of the reasons why I'm able to like speak so well, I believe, is because I speak in front of a lot of kids all the time. Because you can tell once you start like going off on a tangent, or that you see them start dozing off, not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately, you know.
Oh
So I'm
yeah,
like,
they lose interest real quick.
quickly. So.
So what has it been like for you, your journey working with Ceasefire? What are some of the, challenges that you've dealt with, or some of the positive things that you've been able to accumulate
Yeah.
since,
Yeah, well, so when my story, which a lot of people don't know this, I started with Ceasefire during the protest.
Okay.
So when we
all right.
had to go out there, were you around? Were you around there?
No.
Really?
I got out in 2019.
Wow. Well, the protest was in 2020.
Was it?
The protest was.
Okay.
But so there was a big thing downtown, and of course, so me and my cousin, long story short, but me and my cousin was gonna go to Minnesota, and we are gonna protest there. And so the day of, one of the guys was supposed to go with me. He's like, "Man, did you see them shut the police station down or burn it down?" I was like, I can't go down there. I'm like, "Come on, man, we supposed to go." So anyways, we ended up just going to the protest here.
What was the protest for?
That was, I believe, that was George Floyd.
Okay.
It was George
All right.
Floyd. It had to be George Floyd. Yeah, that was George Floyd. And so we ended up going here. We ended up coming here. And so I was very intrigued on how it was. So I was in a Detroit protest. And so, but then it quickly turned violent and crazy. So now I found myself trying to protect the city, not let people burn it down. And so that's when it was like, hey, you gotta be a part of Ceasefire. The mayor is like, man, we need you on Ceasefire. We're gonna be out there trying to keep peace. So I was out there, and then I continued to be a part of Ceasefire just going forward. And so what I love about the program is the part of being able to work with people that people have written off. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like being able to work with the one-on-ones, and then also, what it gets me is being able to respond to scenes where some people are at their worst, and being able to be that comfort. And you've been there, but seeing people at their very worst day in their life, that to me is so powerful to for to be able to be there and provide them comfort and to be able to help in their moments. Because I just could not imagine some of the pain that some of these people are experiencing, and to be able to be there to help and comfort them during those times, that sticks with me. And I'm telling you, every scene, sticks with me very long.
Absolutely.
And bothers
especially
me.
when it pertains to kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been to so many scenes where children are shot. I remember we were doing customs, and there was a whole group of kids that just did prom. They were just doing prom or homecoming, and they were just there and got shot. 14, 15-year-old boys and girls. You know what I'm saying? And I had asked a girl how she felt, and she was like she was Tupac or something. You know what I'm saying? Where you would think that they would be impacted in a different way, to see things different.
Exactly.
Damn, I could have been killed, or I need to do things different, or maybe stop. No, she was like, shit, I'm hard to kill. I'm like, what the fuck? You 14 years old. I'm like, you hard to kill. You better sit your ass
I was
down.
wondering that, because I was talking to a kid the other day that got shot, and I was like, I wonder, do they, I was thinking to myself, how do they look at that? Like, do they see? Because I was asking them, I was like, man, this is a crazy experience, but you can tell that he didn't get the same impression I got of this. I couldn't imagine being shot at 14, 15 years old. But you're right. They probably wear that as like a badge of honor.
For real.
It blows
I've been
my
shot.
mind,
I've been shot. I'm like, man, I think it was 50 Cent that said it. Or Jay-Z was like, you sitting there praising the person that got shot. What about the person who shot you? That's who you need to be thinking about. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Since when has it been cool to get shot? Since Tupac. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tupac got shot 5 different times.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? So everybody wanted to be Tupac.
Nah, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I think it's like one of the saddest things. Seeing, like you said, you see a lot of young people, and then some of the things that gets to me is what young people witness. Like I went to a scene where the man had died. And he was like a boyfriend or something to the mom. The mom had other kids, but she's just like, she didn't want to live because he had died. But I looked at the kid's face and tears ran down his eyes just hearing his mom speak like that. Like, she really probably cared about that dude than she cared more about him. It blew my mind. I just watch small things at those type of scenes to see. And I saw that kid,
absolutely.
It just broke my heart, like looking at him like, dang, man.
But that comes from a place too, man. Like, like my mother used to be a big woman. She was like 400 pounds. So, my mother always had her insecurities. You know what I'm saying? So when she did get a man, that was her number one. Over
exactly.
Anything
Anybody
she did when she cooked, however she was moving according to how he wanted to do it. And it was like we were secondary. You know what I'm saying? And then as an adult, that shit, it hurts your feelings. You're like, damn.
What?
And and then this motherfucker does you wrong, and then we gotta live with wounded mother, and then all the resentment that comes from that,
Exactly. He runs off and leaves you and all that. Yeah, I never understood that, but like I tell people, women need companionship. That's very important.
They need healing.
Yeah.
Because they've been
more
through
than anything.
A lot.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Women have been used and abused and stepped on and discriminated against. They've had every barrier and everything in front of them.
Exactly.
Like coming home, bro, from prison after serving 17 years, it was like I seen so many women in positions of power and authority who were successful business owners in the politics at the table making decisions. And I was like, damn, like me being raised by a single mother, I thought that was really great because, for a long time, women were always secondary. They was always, you know what I'm saying, looked at and treated differently. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now, like they standing on all 10.
Oh,
you know
man.
what I'm saying?
It's a blessing.
And they're thriving, bro. And I love to see it.
And I think like that's one of the most important. That's one of the most important things that I see. And that's why I try to tell people, like, tell my mentees, like, you cherish women. You don't go around and try to talk to every last one that you can. I was like, they have emotions just like you. Because you cherish them. You don't think you just get rid of them or, I was like, you gotta be. So I spent a lot of time on that subject because, like you said, a lot of times people don't understand the pain we put them through. Then we we get up early. We wonder
because they're objectified. You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? I've even like some of my youth that I've dealt with. The females, the girls, they're like, I hate my body because boys only like me because of my body.
Yeah.
They don't get to know who I am. They don't know my personality. They don't know anything. They just like my body and they want me. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I hate my body. I hate it because of that.
Wow.
But the thing is that she's smart enough to know the difference because she's a human. She's got feelings. She's got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Or
so and I mean, it's not to step on nobody because we was all young, we was all little horn dogs. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Boys and girls. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I think that at some point though, boys and girls should learn some discipline, some structure, and just learn the right way. You know what I'm saying? The risks of not being responsible and start, especially when it comes to pregnancy and things that you can't come back from.
Exactly. Permanent decisions. I tell you, stop. You making permanent decisions, doing permanent things with temporary people. That's what pastors used to tell me.
Yeah, definitely.
As you have a baby, you have made a permanent decision. So that's permanent. That ain't no taking that back. Ain't no unless you just like gonna be involved. But that's still.
But you have to care, even to be a man. You have to care that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like we've already seen the products of that.
Yeah.
That vicious cycle that just continues of men having kids with women and not being there for them, not raising them, not supporting them, you know what I mean? Exactly. And they want to sit here and criticize why boys are the way they are today, because women had to do it on their own. Exactly. They had to be the mom and the dad.
Exactly. No matter how much the people, they can't be the mom and dad. I'm like, well, they've done it. My mom was. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me what they can't be. I've seen it.
And they still licking their wounds.
Exactly. Because I always tell people that, and I've seen it with my very own eyes, So, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. But I'll tell you what, now I see more people graduating, more kids graduating than I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I see more dads spending time with their kids, babysitting. I mean, you can't even say babysit. I mean, they're watching their kids. They're spending time with their kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's just nice to see things getting better.
Absolutely.
They really are getting better, man.
Yeah, I like that. I think I was reading something the other day, said like 70% of homes, kids are growing up with both of their parents. You can't go wrong with that. I don't know where they got that study from. I was like, I don't know if that's a Detroit study or not. I know it wasn't Detroit. I think it was a general study. But I'm like, but I just happy to see that like a lot more kids are growing up with both of their parents. Yeah. Or you need people in a community like us to step up. Sometimes, you those kids need those positive influences and role models in their life.
So let's talk about CVI work, community violence intervention.
Yes, sir.
We come from communities that have been plagued with violence. Violence, has always been the answer to resolve, any type of issue, dispute, argument. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the work that we do is to deter, people in general, but especially the young people from that type of behavior.
Absolutely.
Because it's relentless and all it's doing is just peeling the scab off the wound every time another mother has to bury their child. You know what I'm saying? And so what are some of the tactics that you think that we can utilize to help deter, people from violence, from always feeling the need to shoot you? I'm talking about from road rage to anything. Yeah. It's like the Wild Wild West anymore.
It's crazy.
And me personally, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage sometimes because I'm a felon. I can't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But everywhere I go,
everybody got a gun.
Everybody got a gun. Yeah. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I built such a good relationship with God. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I don't need a gun. You know what I'm saying? Because I've learned to accept my life as it is. You know what I mean? But it still is, like
you just want to feel like, because I tell you the thing, I carry my gun religiously, so I understand totally like that.
And I mean, you could be in Walmart and
somebody might fire off some shots. Yeah, I already know. I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it so many different times, and then I don't know. People, my cousin always tell us, it just give me a peace of mind. I pull up to some of the gas stations, so I gotta have my gun on me. But overall, I think like, as it relates to the CVI work, how do you? The problem I'm noticing in this society, and not only just amongst the adults, but amongst the young people, but amongst the adults, is that people do not have like, first off, emotional intelligence or critical thinking skills. Like, why would I go if I watched the guy at Chipotle who is married? He shot the employee. And it all started from him not getting enough guacamole. I'm like, what goes into that mindset?
I know? Yes,
like, what would make me? I have a family. Well, and I was just talking to some kids about that in e-course today. Like, what will make you decide that out of all the things you got going for yourself, you would make a bonehead decision like that where you can lose everything? Mm-hmm. And I was like, you normally see that in people that have nothing to lose. You see them doing those type of but I'm starting to see it more and more in just anybody. I don't know what it is, if it's drugs, if it's the legalization of marijuana, I don't know what it is, but what is happening is people are not critically thinking. So I think it's twofold. One is that you have to find a way to educate people on like, the decisions you make will impact you. Because they know it.
And
like
the
I said,
people around you.
Yeah.
Man. One incident can
30
impact so many
seconds,
people.
I tell people. 30 seconds could get you 30 years. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
tell them. You made a 30-second decision. Now you got yourself 30, or you in a world of trouble. You down there, you're in court. Just stuff you don't have to do. And so I think that's one. It's like you got to first find a way to like have those conversations. Like you need to think critically. Think about your family. Think about yourself.
But you have to be taught to care.
I know.
You have to be taught how to prioritize.
Yeah.
You have to be taught to have new standards and morality. You have to be taught to care about life, about
Exactly.
freedom,
And how do
about
we get
people,
out there like
about
that?
yourself. Because we were not taught to care. We are
Yeah.
not taught that. We're taught that love isn't real, and
exactly.
or it's temporary. And
No, for
I mean,
sure.
even with my murder case, there was 5 families impacted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Four
Forever too.
Huh?
Forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
4 people went to prison. 1 got killed. You know how many kids got left behind? How many mothers was crying? How many families and siblings suffered from one bad decision one person made impacted all these people? But the thing about it is, you have to teach them and cultivate them why it's important to value, how to prioritize. That's really how I really got started, was learning how to prioritize. I realized that I was giving more time to the streets and to the gangs than I was my own mother and my own kids and my own family.
Absolutely.
And I had more love and loyalty for the streets and my dogs and my homies and my gang and my flag and all this. You know what I'm saying? Like pouring everything I got into them, ready to kill, ready to die, ready to go to prison. And I'm sitting here being disloyal to my own kids, my own family, my own mother, turning my back. Not only that, but putting myself through this. You know what I'm saying? We need to be taught how to love ourselves, how to respect ourselves, knowing what our value is, and then learning how to prioritize what is important to you, and then conduct yourself according to that. That way, that helps with your decisions. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that's like I said, you have more experience than that than me in any day, but I think that's so important. Like, just understanding, like what you just said was so powerful. Like, what about the loyalty you're showing to your family? What about the loyalty you're showing to your kids? What about them? You got loyalty to the streets. Why you don't got loyalty to your own family? Because they're the ones who are going to impact.
Yeah.
And guess who the first, like even when my kids go to prison or go to jail, guess who the first person they calling? Me, their mom. Can you put some money on my car? Can you help me get a lawyer? Where was I at where was my phone number in your head when you was out there doing all this craziness, but I kept trying to get you to come back around? Where was that at?
Yeah.
So I think, one is that, like you said, having those conversations, making them understand, educating them. And then 2, always is like giving them that motivation. So basically providing them resources, which a lot of people are moving towards. But like, hey man, you need a job, you need a car, you need a license. We need to help you in connecting those people with those things. Like, you can come out of that. Not everybody not gonna do it. Some people gonna want to stay in their funk, but for a lot of times people, they need those connections. And I'm kind of shocked that there's still so much going on, because there's so many resources out there. And I was talking to somebody, about a year ago. He was saying, like, I think that people need to take advantage of these resources now, because they will not always be there.
It's just the thing is that getting the information to the people.
Yeah,
you know
and that's it. I said
and
that.
I feel like, people would take advantage of resources if they had the information. You know what I mean?
They have to
like
get
the
it.
work that we do, canvassing, door to
Door to
door.
door.
I'm talking about posters, flyers, every barbershop, every party store, every restaurant. We doing door to doors. You know what I'm saying? You have to promote. You got to give it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And every community is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Southwest Detroit, man, our community functions very different, bro.
Oh, yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah, I learned that when I worked at Western. Yeah, the Southwest is totally different.
How was it, bro, working at Western for
it
you,
was rough
man?
to get started, I'll tell you that. I loved it, though. I absolutely loved the experience. What just really impressed me was the work ethic, I was like, man, all these kids got jobs. Every last one of them. And there's like, the way they have jobs is like, it's family-owned businesses, I'm like, man, it's the community that we're missing. I was very impressed by that. I was very impressed, like, all of them. If I go up to the local, it made me start like really patronizing the businesses because I would love to see my kids there. So if I went to the local McDonald's, they were there. If I went to the tire shop, they were changing tires. I'm like, man, you're a different kid.
Yeah,
I'm right here.
Following in the footsteps of their fathers, and
Man.
you know,
I was very thoroughly impressed by that, you know, and that really, you know, just taught me a lot about like that family environment and that also that work hard, that, you know, the idea, you know, the understanding that you have to work hard to make it out here. And you could tell they didn't take it for granted. They didn't take a lot of that for granted. They were very serious about that. And that was powerful to me, man. And it stuck with me.
I really think it's different when you're dealing with parents who come from a different country.
Man, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because their goal is to come here, work, and build a life and take advantage of opportunities that were not afforded to them in their countries. And not only that, but instill that into their kids, you know? Sometimes I think it's a two-sided coin because I see a lot of kids in our program at the DHDC, and a lot of them kids are exhausted because they're working, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it's like, you know, but they're like, I'm doing what I got to do because I got to do my part for my family, which is honorable. I love it. I respect it. But at the same time, it's like you are sacrificing your childhood, your youth. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, sometimes...
Yeah, I saw that, I saw that. I saw that a lot.
It could be a two-sided coin. You know, sometimes, you know, they're exhausted in school. They're exhausted in a program because, you know, after they got out of school, they came to program. After program, they had to go to work and, you know, just things like that. I mean, it's honorable for the intention, but I just feel like they're being deprived of an opportunity of just being a kid.
And
you know
I
what
agree.
I'm saying?
I agree. And that's one thing, you know, we suffered was like sometimes the attendance and stuff was always down because, you know, like you said, they're always working, they're tired. They see this as more. And you know, but let me tell you, like, there was a kid that I will never forget. He was my student aide my first year there. And he did everything. He played sports. He had a 4.0 GPA. And he had a job. And I was like talking to him like, yo, how are you doing this?
You doing more shit than adults do.
What? And
or
let me
just
tell
as
you,
much.
The most, when he told me, and this is what just like, oh, it just broke my heart, that one day he came home and both of his parents had been deported. That was like, and he felt like he was now the man of the house. He had to take care of his sister. So he had to get a job. Plus, he kept with his grades. It's just like, so every time I seen him, like, I'll try to give him some money, and he would never take it.
That put goosebumps on me,
man,
bro, because those are the kind of stories that people don't hear.
They don't,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, our community, that's why I said, you know, even with doing ceasefire work, any type of work in Southwest, you got to be from the community. You have to know the community because we move different. We operate different because we got challenges and obstacles that everybody don't have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you're doing, legal or illegal. Everybody's moving different because there's a lot at stake. You know what I'm saying? I know too many stories where kids at 14, 15 are working their ass off because they need to either help their parents or their parents are deported and they're raising themselves.
You know? Or their own siblings, man. It just like... That kid showed me so much courage, and I mean, it made me emotional just thinking about it, man. I'm like, man, I was like, man, you know, when he told me that, I just couldn't believe it. But I'm thankful that I got a chance to meet him. I'm thankful that I got a chance to hear his story, you know, and he graduated, you know. He kept a 4.0. He kept a 4.0 throughout all of that. Yeah. You know, like.
And that's good. You know, with everything he was against, most kids would have, you know, fell to some type of misguidance, some type of drugs or alcohol or misfortune, you know what I'm saying? Being depressed, sad, and instead they pushed through it.
He pushed through.
You know?
He pushed through. And that was a lot. That meant a lot. So, yeah.
So we're looking forward to Cinco de Mayo coming up on Sunday, May 5th.
Yes.
We're going to have a huge parade, as always.
Yes, I remember going to that.
The whole
I gotta
community
go back to
coming
that.
out. Man, you got to come through, man. I love it. I'm excited. Nonprofit that I work for, DHDC, they'll be there. They'll be in the parade. I'm excited about it. I love it. I always get emotional just to see our community come together like that, everybody, and just celebrate.
I
you
might
know
have
what
to
I'm
bring
saying?
my mentees out to something. You know
Man,
what?
bro.
That is a powerful Yeah, that is powerful.
It is, bro. You
I
can
went to,
feel
like,
the
1 or
love.
2.
You can
Yeah.
feel the unity, the community, the power. You can.
Well, let me know, man.
It's
Can we walk
electrifying,
with you all,
really.
or let me know.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
maybe
sure.
maybe we'll come out,
Absolutely,
man.
brother. Absolutely.
You're
No doubt
right.
about it, man.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But also, I know you mentioned that you just recently spoke at E-Course. Shout out to E-Course.
Yes.
June 28th, we're going to be having an expungement fair at the E-Course High School from
Okay.
12 to 5. So, spread the word. We'll be putting flyers and posters and all that in all the downriver communities. There just hasn't been an expungement fair anywhere downriver for the community. So I'm like, you know what, man, let me go ahead and set something up, for downriver. And then, also for Southwest, we've done like 4 or 5 expungement fairs at the DHDC already. And successfully though, hundreds and hundreds of people have gotten a fresh start. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a blessing.
And this last one we only had 70 people, and that came, but the good thing was pre-registration,
Yeah.
which helped out because it let you know if you qualified or not.
Oh,
instead of having 200 people standing in
Exactly.
line for
And they
2-3
don't even
hours
qualify.
and
Yeah.
don't even qualify, so it was helpful. But I also said, because prior to us doing these expungement fairs in Southwest specifically, there was none,
Yeah.
and we've had maybe 4 or 5 now. And I looked at the numbers now, and I'm like, you know what? That's the results that we wanted.
Yeah.
We went from having 300 people lined
Yeah.
up to now only having 70, and that's a win for
That's
us
a win.
because I'm like, we are making some progress
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because at first everybody's like, dang, we only got 70 people, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, brother, it's beautiful
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we've been chipping at this mountain.
Exactly.
We've been moving this mountain one stone at a time.
Exactly. And now you're seeing, the fruits of your labor. So that's
Yes,
good.
yes, absolutely, man.
Yes,
and it's just sometimes, man, people just don't take advantage of the opportunities that are there because, this is an expungement fair. This is a free service to the community to help you get a fresh start. Or if you got some bread, it's going to cost you $2,500, $3,000 to try to deal with a lawyer and get your stuff expunged. But, however you do it, man, just do it. It's going to feel great.
Yeah.
You get a fresh start, get you a new job, get you a raise,
Nah,
get the
people
job
need
that
that.
you want, all
Yeah.
that type of stuff, man.
Exactly.
I know people who have been deprived of opportunities and
All the
raises
time.
and
Can't-
positions, and they can't grow because of that.
Can't even
you
get an
know?
apartment or something in their name.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
yeah, for real.
So, no, for sure. That's good. I'm happy you're doing that.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And, it's just really been a pleasure working with you and so many brothers, man. Shout out to all them brothers, man. I'm
Yeah.
talking about Snoop, E, Q, G Ward. The whole team, man. You know what I'm
Good
saying?
people, man.
Wydale. I'm trying to get everybody on here.
Oh, yeah. You got to bring them. Yeah.
I've had them all on as a group before, but I
Okay.
want to do individual interviews.
Got
So my
to.
man Phil, we finna get Phil on here.
Yeah, they have their own story.
Yes,
Powerful.
yes, and
Yeah.
I'm so inspired when I'm amongst all you guys because
Yeah.
everybody is doing something positive.
Exactly.
Coaching, you know what I'm saying? My
Yeah.
man Dean at Persian, what up though?
Exactly.
Like Wydale just won this championship,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? He's the
Yeah.
man right now in the city, you know what I mean?
Man,
And just
inspiring work they do every day.
Yes, yes, and then learning how to manage everything, because
Yeah.
everybody got families, bills, priorities, job,
Exactly.
and it's not an easy task when you're dealing with people and the people in your community and all their needs.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
It's hard.
saying?
It's tough. Yeah, and
But-
you, like I said, you wear a lot of weight on your shoulders, and people don't understand that, but it's a lot of weight on people's shoulders out there doing that type of work. So.
And then I've watched everybody in Ceasefire grow.
Yeah.
My man Sincere, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
I'm like, every time I see you,
Yeah.
you got a new title. You got
Yeah.
now you're making more money and you getting this.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And that's what I love about where I work at. You know what I'm saying? Because every year that I've been there, I've just been growing and growing and learning
Absolutely.
and growing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes sense.
Yup, definitely, bro. But let them know where they can find you, man.
Oh,
Let
yeah,
'em
for
know.
sure. For sure. So like I said, Toson Night, you go to caughtup.org. That's our mentoring program. CAUGHTUP.org. Like I said, we mentor high school kids, mostly on the east side, Detroit. Also on Facebook, Toson Antoine Knight. And soon I'm going to have an announcement. I can't make the announcement now, but I'm going to be running for some elected office. So stay tuned for that. Look
Man,
out. We'll be out there
definitely.
going
you
strong.
You got my support,
Yes,
bro.
sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna need it. So
Listen, man, much love to everybody. I hope you guys were able to get out and enjoy some of the festivities for the NFL draft. But if not, Cinco de Mayo's coming up. You already know what time it is. It's action time. Lots of fun. It's starting to warm up a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's enjoy it. I know before it heats up and everybody start acting crazy and
Yeah,
everybody
for sure.
been hibernating. Now everybody want to come out and all that, man. Just come out with a good attitude, man. Life is beautiful. There's so much to life. There's people, places, and things that you want to go, people you want to meet, things you want to do, man. Life is beautiful out there. You know what I'm saying? So just be kind, be considerate, be respectful to yourself and to others, man. Shout out to the Legal Aliens podcast, my brother at LA Landscape, and all my family, friends, my loved ones, everybody who's showing me love and support. Thank you, and I appreciate you.
yes, sir.
And
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely, man. Anytime, bro. We'll see you next Monday.